about to make an oil down with this breadfruit, but you can see it's been sitting in the fridge there for a minute, so it's time to go bad. So I have the fire going. We're gonna do a roast breadfruit, wicked Caribbean lunch slash brunch slash breakfast, and we're gonna make some fried saltfish. So roast breadfruit. It's gonna go over there. Yo, this oven gets to about, it was averaging around 800 degrees Fahrenheit. So this thing, I kid you not, in about 15 minutes, that breadfruit will be fully roasted and ready. Couple things while the breadfruit, the roasted breadfruit, yes, the char is on there. We've got to peel that and take the core out. But while that is cooling, to Uncle Chris ain't trying to burn his hand, so let that cool down first. I do apologize, and the second thing is I do apologize about the noise outside and everything else. I'm not sure how the volume is going to be because I was using my cell phone out there. But essentially what you want to do is roast the breadfruit, whether you do it in the oven, on a charcoal fire, and you know, I use that pizza oven there. If you have a propane stove or a propane barbecue, it works as well too. In here, I have 3 tablespoons of olive oil on a medium flame. Yeah, I've got about half a pound of salted pollock, bones removed. Yep, all the bones. Oh, a tiny one snuck back in there. So be mindful of that. Even though it says boned, when you buy it, it may still have tiny little bones on there. So, and that's been prepared. And I like to start with the oil and the salt fish, whether you're using salted pollock or cod or whatever your budget can afford. You've got to prepare it, and all I did was, in this case, I soaked it in boiling water, and then I broke it up into smaller pieces, as you can see here. All I'm going to do is, and the reason for starting it now, adding it at this point, is because I want that saltfish flavor to flavor the entire oil, so the entire dish will take on that nice saltfish flavor. Now, if my mommy was doing this, what she would do, she would crank the heat up and get the saltfish pieces a little crispy. That's just the way Daddy likes it, you know what I mean? As that fun happens in there, what I want to do is add some fresh thyme. And you know, I'm not a fan of dried thyme, but if dried thyme is all you have, you'll rock that dried thyme. Additionally, about 6 cloves of garlic, which I just smashed, because I like a lot of garlic in there. 1 Scotch bonnet pepper, seeds and everything. But again, you know, do it according to your own tolerance, because I'm not trying to make a dish that you won't be able to enjoy later. So add as much pepper as you can handle. I love my Caribbean sunshine, so yeah. And again, I'm using Scotch bonnet. If you have habanero or whatever else, you can certainly use that. In goes black pepper, and I like fresh ground black pepper. But again, if you have the pre-ground black pepper, no worries. I'm going to turn my heat down now to sort of a medium low, and I want that to soften up and cook. But before we do anything else, a large onion all sliced up. I want that onion to add some lovely flavor in there. It's been about 4 minutes. What I want to do now is a couple things. I have a whole bunch of tiny Roma tomato from the garden I got to put to use, and I've also got some cherry tomato, so I'm just going to sprinkle that in there. What I also found, actually, let's get that to stir, because I want to, and the acidity from that tomato will be brilliant in this dish. And the whole idea is not to overcook anything here, because my tomato, believe it or not, is some of the sweetest tasting. Your boy's sweet, what I was saying. But anyhow, what I forgot to mention earlier there is the reason why you want to soak or boil the salted fish. And again, it doesn't matter which variety you use, is because you want to rehydrate it. Plus, you want to remove most of the salt. It is dry cured with salt, so it's saltfish. It means it's really salty, so you need to do that. So that is why you would have to prepare it in advance, kind of thing. what I want to do here now, and you know, the tomato will not only bring that acidity and sweetness, look how big, we're feeding a lot of people with this now, because you know, the more you put in there, the more you can stretch this for more people. Speaking of which, I found a piece of cabbage in the fridge there, so I want to make use of that. Yeah, you don't need to add any salt at this point. Later on near the end, you will taste it and add salt if necessary. Most likely you won't need it. Just gonna hit that a quick stir just to make sure everything is combined. And you know, use any tomato you have on hand. I'm just lucky I have those Roma and cherry tomato in my garden. But you can use whatever tomato you have on hand. What I want to do now is, rather than, you know, some people will put water in there. I don't want to put water. I don't want to dilute my flavors. I want to put a lid and let that lid go on there, create some steam, and that steam is going to help cook everything nicely. But we don't want it for long because I don't want to overcook my cabbage. It's been 5 minutes since we added the cabbage in there. Just gonna hit that. I did stir it once already just to make sure things are being evenly distributed between the dish here. This cabbage is to where I want it, but I still give it another minute to finish off some scallions from the garden. Yeah, making use of everything. Now the only thing from my garden I didn't use that I have could potentially go in here, well, two things. I have Jamaican callaloo, which we call chorai bhaji. I have some I could have chopped up and put in here if I wanted. I'm feeling to go that route today. And I also have some fresh parsley back there. If you want to add some parsley, you can do that as well. So I'm just gonna let this warm through, let that scallion, that onion flavor come through. Yeah, and you know, this is where you're gonna taste it now for salt, because remember, we added all that tomato in there, we added the cabbage in there. So all those things will kind of sort of normalize the amount of salt, which may have been remnants remaining from when we prepared the salt fish. Looks like we're all done now. So what we need to do now is prepare, and you know, with the roasted breadfruit, you have a couple options. Let me turn off my stove. Once you peel the outer layer and you slice it up, take out the core, you can go ahead and fry it, but I'm not trying to go that route today. I'm just gonna go roast breadfruit with this stewed saltfish. It's time for the breadfruit. It's nice and cool to the touch, so I'm just gonna slice off the top here. And notice the color has changed on the, well, you wouldn't know what the color is. Nice and creamy on the inside, which means it's fully roasted. See, that wood oven there, boy, that thing does, the heat, it is just do magical things. Yeah, I see most people buying the oven for making pizza. Uncle Chris roasting breadfruits and all kind of nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel this. What I may have to do is on this side, hold it, because I don't want to touch it now with my black hands with all that soot and everything else. If you recall, we had that couple spots there where it was starting to go bad, so I'm just going to remove that, cut that out, and voila, we've got that roast breadfruit all ready here. So I'm just going to slice it up now, cut it down the center, and this is the core we're trying to remove. So all I'm going to do is cut it into nice big pieces like so, and then we're going to go in with a paring knife and we're just going to remove that core, and we've got that sliced roasted breadfruit. I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of them. Now if you were going to fry this, and it'll just be shallow fry, you would cut it nice and thin, then you would fry it in just plain old vegetable oil or butter, and it will give it a nice crusty exterior. But all I'm doing is, like I said, I'm going in just the way it is here. I ain't trying to add more fat to my diet by frying this. So yeah, let's assemble your little dinner now. Sup soldiers, listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me. Email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, then bots will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pod. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. Absolutely one of the best breakfast, brunch, dinner. Well, I'm not going on talking dinner time here, but I do hope you all get an opportunity to give this one a try. Remember, I said you can fry the breadfruit after if you wanted to, the roasted breadfruit. But why? Why? You don't need that. Just look at it, boy. This thing just stunning for spite. Irie? Irie.